SSDI $1,400 fourth stimulus check update. Social Security disability. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now this video is specifically dedicated to Social Security disability beneficiaries, or SSDI beneficiaries. Now this continues to be a very common question that I see showing up down below in the comments section from many of you right here in the community who do receive Social Security disability benefits, SSDI benefits, wondering, will there be a fourth stimulus check? How much will a fourth stimulus check be? And will you be included as an SSDI beneficiary if there happens to be a $1,400 fourth stimulus check? That's exactly what I want to focus on here in the video. I want to answer all your questions, let you know where we currently stand, and what we need to watch very closely going forward as things are changing very rapidly. So let's get right into it and talk through all the details. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video. As I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm watching all this new information hitting the wire every single day, doing all the necessary research and breaking it down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what is actually going on right now and how it's going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, everything else going on right now. And of course, I want to point out anything that's being talked about, being announced by the administration, by the president, lawmakers, Congress, and of course, anything that they're currently working on, including money, checks, stimulus, fourth stimulus check, programs, ongoing stimulus checks, raises to monthly benefits, programs, proposals, bills, reform to all these benefits, anything else that's coming out right now. Of course, I'm watching all of it very, very closely, as well as all of the other updates that are being announced every single day. It's a very busy time right now, and of course, I'm watching it all for you, bringing it to you in these short videos, as I truly want to help you out in any way that I possibly can. So again, please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and I'll continue to be here for you, right by your side every single day, as that's my dedication and my commitment, and as always, I'm sticking to it. All right, thanks again. Let's jump into it and talk about a $1,400 fourth stimulus check, specifically for SSDI, and answering all the questions that I continue to see down below in the comment section. All right, so let's talk through this. Now, here's the thing. When it comes down to it, in the event of a fourth stimulus check, it's not going to be specifically focused on SSDI. If they do offer a fourth stimulus check that is focused on beneficiaries, it's likely going to include Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, and RRB. So I highly doubt that there's going to be a highly focused check just for SSDI. But again, if there happens to be a fourth stimulus check, there could be something along the lines of a focus check for fixed income beneficiaries, just like what we saw back in 2009 when they actually did send out a highly focused check just for fixed income beneficiaries. But I want to make it very clear before we get into this any further. As of right now, a fourth stimulus check in any dollar amount, whether it happens to be $1, $5, $500, $1,000, $1,400, $1,200, even $2,000, has not been approved yet, okay? So I want to make that very clear right away so that there's no confusion on what's going on right now. However, with that being said, I do want to break it down and let you know what we need to watch going forward, because there's a lot of weird things that are happening right now. And as a result of that, I mean, realistically, it's only a matter of time until this economy really contracts even harder than it is right now. And the harder that this economy contracts, the likelihood of stimulus checks gets greater and greater and greater and greater, because that's what happens in recessions, is they send out stimulus checks. Just like the last 3 recessions that we've seen over the last 21 years. And as I've talked about in previous videos, all the recessions that we've seen since the year 2000, so like 22 years ago, have all produced stimulus checks. The recession in 2020, from the dot-com bubble, that produced stimulus checks. The recession produced in 2008 from the housing crisis produced stimulus checks. The recession produced in, the recession in early 2020 as a result of COVID also produced stimulus checks. Now, why would the next one not produce a stimulus check? Again, just saying, history repeats itself over and over and over again. Why would this next recession be any different? Again, I don't want to speak for Congress, because honestly, that would not be a smart thing to do, right? I do not want to come out and say, Congress for sure is going to do something or not going to do something, but I can't imagine it's going to be any different this time. They do the same old things every single time. However, let me point out for you what exactly I'm watching right now, why this is so incredibly important, and what we need to watch here over the coming days, weeks, and of course the next couple months here. And depending on what actually happens here, could actually be very positive for the prospects of another stimulus check. Here's what it comes down to. I'm watching very, very closely the job market. That's number one, okay? So you might be wondering, how does the job market have anything to do with a stimulus check? It actually plays a major role in stimulus checks. Here's what it comes down to. It all comes down to the unemployment rate. So this is very important because as the unemployment rate continues to increase, as in more people are being unemployed simply because the ongoing economic contraction, large corporations, small corporations, medium-sized corporations, small businesses are laying off people. In other words, they're looking at the current situation. They're saying, we've got a situation coming and we're going to start laying off some people because we're trying to preserve capital. They're trying to preserve money so they can weather out the storm that is coming very rapidly. So as a result of that, the number one expense that businesses have is payroll. Yes, payroll is the number one expense. So unfortunately, they start laying people off so that they can preserve that capital because they simply don't need as many people in the times of less demand, as in less customers coming in buying their goods and services. So they start laying off people and preserving that capital that they otherwise would have been paying out through payroll, right? So with that being said, I'm watching the unemployment rate very closely. One more thing I want to throw out there really quickly about the job market. Remember I'm going to say about a year and a half ago. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember the exact month that this came out, but it was about a year and a half ago or so, give or take a couple months. But there was a group of different lawmakers that came out and proposed a letter to the president for him to increase or add stabilizers into the next stimulus package that would actually automatically produce stimulus checks in the event that the unemployment rate rises above a certain level. Do you remember about this? We talked about it in great depth back when this was actually announced. But there was a group of lawmakers that sent over a letter to the president calling on him to add automatic stabilizers, as in automatic stimulus checks that would be going out for people in the event that the unemployment rate goes above a certain level. So again, this shows the magnitude and why the unemployment rate is very, very, very important, right? So I'm watching this one very closely. In the event the unemployment rate continues to rise, this would actually be a very positive thing for stimulus checks. Now, again, I'm not saying that it's a good thing people are losing their jobs. I'm not saying that at all, so I don't want to be accused of that. I'm simply saying that in the event the unemployment rate continues to rise, and honestly, it's going to, I have no impact over this. This is just what is happening. This is what happens during economic contractions, and we are in a very strong economic contraction right now because the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates as a result of this inflation that's going on right now. They're trying to bring this inflation down, and as a result of that, they're raising interest rates. Well, as a result of that, businesses are laying off people. Therefore, people are losing their jobs and becoming unemployed. The unemployment rate is continuing to raise higher. Make sense? It's all highly correlated, right? So as we continue to watch the job market, as we continue to watch inflation, and of course the Federal Reserve, these are all factors that I'm watching very, very closely because depending on what happens here, the Federal Reserve is like the dog that wags the tail, right? Federal Reserve raises interest rates, businesses lay off people because it's, less demand coming in for their products and services. The unemployment rate ticks higher, inflation potentially goes down, but probably not really. And again, it's just this big vicious cycle that continues to go round and round like a big old tornado spinning around and round. And the more that it spins, the more aggressive that it gets. That's basically what we're dealing with right now with this kind of trifecta of the Federal Reserve, inflation, interest rates, and of course, the unemployment rate and the jobs market, right? So these are the factors that I'm watching very closely. Now, the more that the economy continues to contract, because it's a lagging indicator, right? So as the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates, the economy is going to contract, but it's somewhat delayed. So as the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates, we might not see effects immediately. It takes time. But when the economy actually contracts, it all of a sudden contracts really hard, really fast, but it takes time to get to that point, right? And then all of a sudden everybody scrambles and says, oh, the economy contracted way too much. What should we do now? And then they call it things like stimulus packages, they call it quantitative easing, they call it QE, they call it Operation Twist, they call it all kinds of different things. But basically what it all comes down to is printing money. Then the Federal Reserve comes out and prints a bunch of money. They lower interest rates by cutting rates, and then basically what they do is they raise the appetite for borrowing money, right? It's the whole cycle that plays out every single time. It's the same old song and dance literally every single time. So why would this time be any different? Highly doubt it's going to be. It might have a new name. It might be called something different, but it's going to be the same old thing that they've done every single time, right? So when the Federal Reserve prints money, what do they do with it? Well, depending on where we're currently sitting, depending on what's going on with the economic situation, but they basically print money and plow it into the economy to prop it up because the economy has contracted too much. Therefore, they need to bring it back. So what do? They print up stimulus checks, they send them out to the people like us, and they say, hey, everybody, we're sending you some money. You're instructed to go out and spend that money. That's what we're supposed to do with stimulus checks. That's why it's called a stimulus check. Is it because they want to stimulate us? No, because they want to stimulate the economy through us. That's how they do it, right? They give us, say, I don't know, $600, $1,200, $1,400, and they say, hey, go spend this money on the necessities. Then they look like a hero because they gave us a bunch of money. They look good because they gave us a bunch of money and act like it's, a gift from them, when really all they're doing is they're doing it in the... They're doing it for their greater good, which is propping up the economy yet again. So they tell us to go and spend all this money, and all of a sudden we get this huge influx of cash flowing into the economy where we're buying goods and services, things like that, and all of a sudden, what do you know? The economy comes back. Wow. What a brainiac idea, right? Well, they've done it every single time, and again, they're going to do it again. So I don't want to be here and say for sure that they're going to issue stimulus checks, but again, if history would show us any clues as to what's going on, well, we're going to see very clearly what they've done over the last 21 years, and why would it be any different this time? It's not going to be. There's no reason why it would be. They do the same old things, right? So anyway, when it all comes down to it, when it comes down to a fourth stimulus check in the amount of $1,400 or a highly focused stimulus check for fixed income beneficiaries, again, they could do something like that, a highly focused check for fixed income beneficiaries. But in the event that they do offer another check, yes, SSDI would be included. There's no reason that SSDI would not be included. So I want to say that much though. In the event that another check is issued, it's likely going to be for everybody, including all fixed income beneficiaries, just like the last three that we saw over the last, from early 2020 into early 2021, or about that 1 year span where we got the three checks, the $1,200, the $600, and the $1,400. All of those included fixed income beneficiaries, right? There was not a single check in there that did not include fixed income beneficiaries. Yes, there were some rules around them, as in talking about dependents and representative payees and all that business, adult dependents, things like that. There was different rules depending on the checks, but for the most part, pretty much all fixed income beneficiaries got a check from those three checks that went out from early 2020, late 2020, and early 2021. Does that kind of make sense? So anyway, long story short, for SSDI beneficiaries, in the event another check is issued, then yeah, by all means, you would surely be included on that. So hope this one helps you. Again, I want to do whatever I can to keep you updated with everything going on, and of course, break out anything that's going on right now, break it down into these short videos and let you know how it impacts us, what we need to watch closely, and how this may actually transpire into another fourth stimulus check. Anyway, please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, or feedback down below as well. As I read through the comment section, I'll do my best to answer as many as possible, as well as make dedicated videos where I see fit to answer your questions as well. I'm always down in the comment section reading as many as I possibly can. So again, subscribe down below, share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, have a good one. Thanks again.